What's up, Crypto Club? Louis here, and today I'm bringing the crypto news of the day. Today's date is the 2nd of April 2018, and I'm going to bring you everything to cryptocurrency in the last 24 hours. I hope you guys enjoyed the little April Fool's jokes I brought to you yesterday. Obviously, it was meant for a bit of fun. Hope you guys enjoyed some of the jokes that were in that video, and I hope some of you actually noticed it and didn't take it too seriously. I know a lot of you in the comment section below did end up calling me out and saw straight through me, but I hope you had a bit of fun regarding that. But anyway, today we're going to get back to business. So start off by looking at the market cap for the day. It currently sits around $263 billion, or nearly $264 billion at the time around 3 p.m. GMT today. So if we look at the top 5, you can see here Bitcoin's up around 6.31%, Ethereum's up around 5.41%, Ripple's up around 5.17%, Bitcoin Cash up around 5.29%, and Litecoin up around 7.13%. And if we look at the rest of the top coins in the top 100, you can see the majority of coins are in the green. I believe only 5 coins are in the red for the last 24 hours, so having a very overwhelmingly positive day, which is great to see. So there's a slight rebound from yesterday's lows and the lows we've seen in the last week or so. So if we look at the top performers of the day as well, we have Storage up around 35.65%, VeChain up around 23.24%, because they just recently got listed on BITHUMB, so this is massive news, but I'll get into that in the end of the video and talk more about that in detail. XPA is up also around 18.57%. BitShares is up around 18.53%, and RChain is up around 17.72%. For the worst performers of the day, we have Kin down around 4.1%, Ritter down around 3.39%, Tether down around 0.31%, and Dragon Chain only down around 0.03%. And as you can see, there is only 4 coins in the red for the last 24 hours, so it's very, very positive for the day, which is looking great. So if we get into the first news story I have for you today, this is basically about Antigua and Barbuda and how they're planning to launch their own nationwide cryptocurrency exchange. So the government based in Antigua and Barbuda plans to set up a crypto exchange. The authorities in the capital St. John want to earn income for the national treasury in order to position the country on the cutting edge of the new system of wealth creation. So I'm guessing they're regarding wealth creation as sort of the cryptocurrency space at the moment, regarding ICOs, etc. And also you want to bring in extra income to the national treasury so they can be on the edge of this technology and keep in step with the technology going forward. So the adoption of this proposal will be reviewed by the Antigua and Barbuda Parliament, wanted to be in step with the technological innovations. Antigua and Barbuda have introduced its new project to set up a crypto exchange national. According to the Daily Observer, the law regarding the use of blockchain technology and virtual coins will be published in the near future by Parliament. So the Minister of Information Technology, Melford Nicholas, basically stated that the cryptocurrency trading platform will offer buyers and sellers the best services at a discounted fee. So the government's goal is to generate national revenues without being taxed. So they want to do this, they want to bring out an exchange to their citizens, and they're basically going to inspire or create an incentive for people to invest in cryptocurrencies by offering the best services they can for buyers and sellers at a discounted fee, sort of, you know, as I said, as an incentive to trade cryptocurrencies in the country, and therefore bring tax-free sort of national revenues. So Antigua and Barbuda is determined to be on the cutting edge of the new system of creating wealth, according to an official statement. By establishing an exchange here, we will bring Antigua into the game, as it were. Should there be any potential economic spin-offs, we would be in the front seat, stated Mr. Nicholas. So this is very interesting to see that sort of approach they're taking here, and they see it as a positive sort of position for their government, and also for the citizens to be at the cutting edge of technology and moving forward with it to hopefully create some national income as well for the treasury, so they can stay on top of the technology going forward. Next thing I want to talk about here is regulation. This comes from South Korea, as they're going to introduce a complete cryptocurrency regulation framework after local elections with taxation and all. So Korean news site FN News basically reported that the Korean Ministry of Strategy and Finance is planning to hold an international financial conference on virtual currencies and blockchains for G20 members right after the local elections on June 14th in Seoul, together with a working session on international finance systems on the 15th. This will be an important milestone for both the Korean and global crypto investors and users, as the country is preparing to introduce a full-scale cryptocurrency regulatory framework after the initial discussions. According to the article, the ministry have already started monitoring the approach that some of the most developed countries are taking in order to get a better insight on the competition. Korea has been following the US, Japan, Germany and the United Kingdom to determine the actual status of their regulatory landscape. The most important issue to work on is the future taxation. Most of these countries differ in their status, and the US and UK are basically taxing capital gains. Japan is treating capital gains as well as miscellaneous income, and Germany recognizes cryptocurrencies as legal tender and tax it accordingly. Taxation in Korea will most probably take place from the beginning of next year. We are confident that the Korea will take a leading approach, as local banks and regulatory bodies have known to be favouring these technological advancements. So they're basically trying to set up their legal framework to be kind of in line with other countries, other major countries in cryptocurrency space, trying to keep it fair to a certain extent. And they're really going to bring it to the brink of being regulated fully as well, because they want to take a more serious approach to cryptocurrencies as it becomes a growing topic in their country. So it's very interesting what sort of way they'll go about that and what decisions they'll make after the actual local elections take place on the 14th of June. So we have to wait out for that. The next thing we're going to talk about here is Russia. Now they're also unveiling ICO regulations underpinned by the ruble. So if we come down here to read a bit more, Russia's Ministry of Telecom and Mass Communications has prepared guidelines for issuing digital tokens, commonly known as ICOs. So they're developing the ICO guidelines, so it appears to be readying regulations of blockchain technology and ICOs, refraining from an outright ban, which is great news there, to be honest, as the world's biggest country by territory looks to benefit from the surging popularity of ICOs. What's more, Russia is positioning its national currency, the ruble, to play an integral part in the ICO process. So Russia's Minkonsayaz, I think that is, has prepared regulations for the ICOs, according to the local news source of Kommersant, publishing a document in Russian, which is currently in the public discussion phase. So some of the notable points are summarized here in this article here. So ICO organizers would be accredited for a period of 5 years. Accreditation is proposed to be voluntary and controlled by Minkonsayaz. ICOs must be registered by the Russian Federation, so they'll be verified there. Registered capital must be at least 100 million rubles, which is 1.7 million US dollars in equivalent. They also must be licensed to develop, produce, and distribute cryptographic commodities. There's also must be a Russian bank account for transmitting money raised by the ICO. And lastly as well, issuing of digital tokens must be carried out in rubles only as a cashless settlement. So additionally, ICO organizers will be required to support buybacks from investors at a nominal price using the money raised from the token sale. So they're treating it like complete and utter stocks here, it seems like. So it's very interesting the sort of way they're going about, and they're using the ruble to be a fully integral part of the ICO system in Russia and using it as the staple currency they're going to use. So lastly, these regulations must be enforced by the given licensed company accredited by the Minkonsayaz. Very interesting information there to see how it goes forward with ICOs in Russia, but looks like they're really getting, stuck in, you're really getting involved with the ruble in ICO schemes, which is interesting to see, and also making a lot of verification processes with Russian bank accounts, and also it being, registered capital and registered with the Russian Federation as a whole. Interesting way of going about that, better than them outright banning it in my opinion, so we have to see how that goes moving forward. Next thing I want to talk about here is a Canadian bank is basically censoring payments made to cryptocurrency exchanges outright. So the Bank of Montreal, one of the major financial institutions in Canada, is censoring payments made to cryptocurrency exchanges in businesses, which is bad in a sense because therefore they're basically trying to restrict the sort of purchases people can make with their own hard cash straight from the bank accounts, which is not going to play well with the population in Canada. Earlier this week, several digital currency investors and analysts, including Francis Poulet and Pompilano, I think that is Pompilano, sorry if I butchered that name, have revealed that Bank of Montreal has effectively disallowed users from purchasing cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum with its credit and debit cards, as well as using online payment methods. Previously, Barclays, Citibank, JP Morgan, and other leading US banks and Europe banks have also banned cryptocurrency purchases with credit cards to prevent their customers from obtaining debt to invest in highly volatile digital currency markets. Like, I do sort of support that though, because obviously you shouldn't be taking out money you can't afford to pay back if it does go into the floor like it potentially could. No one really knows what the outcome of cryptocurrencies are. Everyone's very positive and hopeful about it continuously increase in price, but everyone has a slight thought in the back of their mind that it could reach zero, it could completely crash, and it could be a bubble. Whether people like to admit that or not is something that needs to be addressed, and obviously there is a risk being taken there. So taking out debts that you can't afford if it does happen in that scenario is going to put a lot of money astray, and there's going to be a lot of problems financially for a lot of people. So it's better off they avoid even investing money they can't afford to lose. Although risk is involved in every asset and trade, users have the freedom to invest, should have the freedom to invest in whatever asset they wish to allocate funds to. The move from their above mentioned major banks was understandable given that many speculators have overspent their budget to invest in the rapidly moving cryptocurrency market. However, the decision to ban all types of online payments made to digital currency exchanges by the Bank of Montreal is unprecedented, and no other bank in the world has imposed such policy as of yet. So they're the first to do so, where they're completely restricting all types of purchases, not just credit card purchases or loan purchases. They're restricting all types of purchases, even ones that have been, it can be debited because they're actually the money that they own themselves, and their hard-earned money, it can't be spent on cryptocurrency exchange, which doesn't make any sense. They're restricting basically what they can pay their money into. And if they worked hard enough for the money and they own that money to themselves, why should they not be allowed to invest in the cryptocurrency space? I don't really understand that. The credit side of things does make sense, but this completely doesn't. The official document released by the Bank of Montreal entitled Blocking Cryptocurrency Transactions for BMO Credit Cards, Debit Cards and Interact Online Payment. Effective immediately, BMO will be blocking cryptocurrency merchants' transactions. This decision was made due to the volatile nature of cryptocurrencies and to better protect the security of our clients and the bank. Clients attempting any cryptocurrency transactions using a BMO debit or credit card MasterCard will be blocked and will be presented with a screen message advising them that the transaction cannot be completed. So it's effective immediately. They're completely banning it out, and they're basically just going to say that the transaction cannot be completed at any time that it's attempted using the Bank of Montreal, and they say they're trying to protect the security of the clients and the bank. And it's just interesting they're doing this because honestly it's the client's decision to do so. They're potentially restricting them from a massive movement that could net a lot of people a lot of money in the future if they do invest their own money, and they could, create these capital gains that are massive. And honestly, they'll be shooting themselves in the foot if they ever see it grow in the future and realize that the Bank of Montreal did restrict these payments. So rather than doing that, let the clients take the risk, but don't let them use their credit cards or loaned capital as well to invest. That makes sense. That's why other banks are doing it. But to restrict them using their debit cards and money they actually own themselves that they worked hard for doesn't make any sense in any sort of fact of the matter. Which is interesting enough. But let me know what you think about that in the comment section. But I'd love to hear your opinion on the matter, but I'm sure a lot of you agree with me there. Next thing we'll talk about here is Stellar Lumens, also known as XLM, and basically how the central bank's link will give this crypto a major boost. So it says here, the last few days have increased interest in Stellar Lumens. That's after the IBM head of blockchain development revealed that Stellar Lumens is now live on the IBM blockchain. But what people are getting excited about is the mention of central banks. Lund has been quoted saying the most durable digital asset is one that is issued by central banks and represent fiat currency in the real world. That's an indication that the biggest aspect of the Stellar IBM deal is to give central banks an efficient crypto that they can work with. So they're suggesting that Stellar might be the cryptocurrency that is going to be the most durable digital asset that is going to be used in these crypto banks or these central banks. And it's very exciting news because that is going to be widespread adoption and very, very positive nature there's going to be a very positive nature in this deal, and it's also going to bring a lot of investment to Stellar going forward. So the details of the deal have been broken down by several different experts, but what I'm most excited about are the implications to investors. The most possible implication of this deal is that Stellar Lumens will become the most default crypto for central banks, since IBM already offers many of them tech-related services. Besides, Lund has met with the heads of more than 20 central banks. Once the adoption happens, we are most likely to see an upsurge in the demand of Stellar Lumens by the average Joe, those who are yet to invest in crypto because they believe it is not money. This demand will give Stellar Lumens a 27 moment again when money was flowing into crypto from all quarters. So yes, this is very positive because hopefully it will give other cryptocurrency tokens and coins, basically more investment as a whole, because we'll actually have some legitimacy coming to cryptocurrency as a whole, as one of the biggest cryptocurrencies in Stellar Lumen will be actually adopted by central banks, and therefore as well they'll see it as a safer investment for the average Joe, as it mentions here, to get started with cryptocurrency, to invest in a cryptocurrency that's actually issued by central banks, and people seem to trust banks, so that could be a positive sort of outcome from this. Very exciting news there. So we see how that goes in the future, and if the plans will actually come to fruition. It's nice to see that as well. They have some competition to Ripple, for example, and XRP, as they sort of set out to do the same thing with cross-border remittances, and now they have a bit of challenge, and therefore innovation will be implicit and sort of integral to creating a cryptocurrency to come out on top, and therefore we'll get a developing cryptocurrency space that will constantly improve. So there's very exciting news there. Last thing I'll talk about here, very simple news. This is about BITHUMB, one of the largest exchanges in the world, and how they finally listed VeChain, or VEN. Very exciting news there, because VeChain is one of the smaller amounts of cryptocurrencies that have survived to some extent the bloodbath that has recently occurred. So it has stayed one of the most stable cryptocurrencies currently in the space in terms of its price, after the last 3 months of the complete bloodshed that's come from the cryptocurrency market, and they are experiencing a massive growth, as I mentioned before, as a result of this news. If we come over and refresh the market, as you can see here, VeChain still up around 24% thereabouts, as it sits just around $2.73, which is very exciting to see, as it's had an immediate positive effect from this cryptocurrency exchange BITHUMB listing VEN, or VeChain. Very exciting news to see there. VeChain, one of my favorite cryptocurrencies in my personal opinion, as they have loads of multi-million-dollar deals with loads of these huge companies, and have a lot of big things planned out for them coming soon. Anyway, thanks for watching. It's been Crypto Club. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give the video a like, and also comment down below what you thought of the news for today, and also if you have any news you'd like to share with the Crypto Club. Also, if you like my content as a whole, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell notification icon to be notified when I next upload. This has been Crypto Club, and I'll see you in the next one.